Have your attention, please. On behalf of the family of Dr. Mankiewicz, I would like to warmly welcome everyone here today, both those of you present here in person and those joining us virtually via the video link. Your presence and support, I'm sure, is very much appreciated by Dr. Mankiewicz's family during this time of remembrance and reflection. Officiating today at this celebration of life ceremony is our Dignity Memorial celebrant, Kate Harrison. Following the ceremony, we invite you to join us for a reception on the lower level, which is accessed off of the main lobby, the stairwell there. And for those of you that may find the stairs challenging, we have an elevator, and any one of our staff would be happy to assist anyone that would like to use the elevator. Before we begin, I would kindly ask that you take a moment to silence any electronic devices to ensure that the proceedings remain uninterrupted. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Alex. I would like to start our service with a very special poem. It's called High Flight, John Gillespie Magee, Jr., for a man who loved planes. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter's silver wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things. You have not dreamed of wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlight silence, hovered there. I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up the long, delirious, burning blue, I have topped the wind-swept heights with easy grace, where never lark nor eagle flew. And well with silent lifting mine I've trod the height, the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God. Again, I welcome all of you here as we celebrate the life of Dr. Stanley Mankiewicz. I invite you now to join me in an opening prayer. Lord, our Creator, be with us now in our time of loss and our time of sorrow. There is a hole in our hearts that's been made by having to let go of one so dearly loved. We know that Stanley is at peace now. He is no longer burdened with the failings of our earthly bodies and is living a new life free of all pain. Yet it is the pain of grief that each one of us must carry that need the support now. Help us to turn our tears to the song of laughter as we remember the great times that we shared. Help us also to remember that this is not the end, this is simply a break in time, and that we will all be reunited with Stanley again one day on the other side of this life. In Jesus' name, amen. Now, Dr. Stanley Mankiewicz, he had a very full and active life, touched the hearts and the minds of many people. But nobody can tell those stories better than some of those that knew him best. And at this time, I would like to invite his son, Tim, to come forward.
Actually, Jamie's going to speak.
Jamie? Jamie.
Thank you.
Daughter-in-law Jamie, please come forward.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's truly an honor to be up here to speak in honor of my father-in-law. Please just bear with me. I cry during Hallmark commercials. Today we gather to honor and celebrate the extraordinary life of my father-in-law, Stan, a man whose kindness, humility, brilliance, sharp wit, and unwavering love for his family left an indelible mark on everyone who had the privilege of knowing him. Stan was the son of Polish immigrants, embodying their resilience, determination, grit, and humble spirit. From these humble beginnings, an unrelenting drive for knowledge, insatiable curiosity, and an unrelenting desire to make the world a better place, he catapulted through his studies. At the recommendation of his professors and the administration, he skipped a year of medical school, a testament to his immense talent and dedication. Throughout his career, he dedicated himself to helping rural populations, bringing expert care to places where it was most needed. He didn't just practice medicine, he embodied it as a mission, combining his technical skill with deep humanity. His work undoubtedly changed countless lives. He was a man who balanced his brilliance with humility, his accomplishments with generosity, and his sharp mind with a warm spirit. He was, in every way, extraordinary. Before pursuing medicine, Stan dreamed of becoming an aeronautical engineer. Inspired by his lifelong fascination with aviation and the possibilities of flight. Though his parents encouraged him to pursue medicine, his passion for aeronautics never waned. Perhaps his dream will one day be fulfilled by our son and his aeronautically obsessed grandson, Jack, who carries on Stan's love of flight and exploration. That's Jack.
Mom. Why is she over there? And why is she?
You can come up here, Jack. Yeah, come on up. Everybody needs support. You're good support to your mom. Come on up.
Jack. Stan met the love of his life, Marilyn, at the Oshawa Clinic, where he was immediately smitten. Despite his charm, Marilyn was dating someone at the time. But Stan was persistent, and his persistence and his patience paid off when months later she accepted his invitation for a date. They fell deeply in love, building a beautiful life together. Marilyn was the great love of Stan's life. His partner and best friend, his anchor. And their bond was a source of joy and inspiration for all who knew them. Family was at the heart of Stan's life. Together with their 3 sons, David, Mark, and Tim, they traveled the world, creating memories filled with laughter, culture, adventure, and the joy of sharing delicious food. Stan and Marilyn raised their 3 sons to embody the values they held dear: kindness, integrity, and a commitment to making the world better. He was deeply proud of them, and the bond they shared reflected the depth of his love and commitment as a parent. Their sons carry forward his legacy, a living reflection of his deep love and guidance. He also shared a close and enduring bond with his brother Vic, a relationship rooted in love and mutual respect. Stan's love of learning was a lifelong passion that never waned. He was a voracious reader, always eager to dive into a historical tomb or keep up with medical journals, even in his retirement. His appreciation for history, aviation, and culture enriched his life and gave him endless topics to explore and discuss. He approached every subject with curiosity and an open mind, embodying a blend of intellectual rigor and humility. Stan's legacy reminds us that bonds transcend even death. The love he gave, the lessons he taught, and the life he lived are forever woven into the fabric of his family and all who were blessed to know him. His spirit will continue to guide us, inspire us, and comfort us in the days ahead. Though we grieve his loss, we celebrate the life of a man whose brilliance, compassion, and love touched us all. Thank you, Stan, for the light you brought into our lives. Your legacy will live on, and your bond with us remains unbroken.
Off.
Little comedic. You may want to stay if his dad's coming up next. Thank you very much. At my service, and someone has the courage to come forward and speak when their hearts are broken, I think they deserve a round of applause, and unfortunately I can't start that, so I'm going to leave that to you. Okay, very good.
I will go down.
Thank you for your support, Jack. Next, I would like to invite Stanley's son, David, to come forward.
Dad, would you like to sit on one?
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank my father for leaving us great memories. I'd also like to thank my mother, Marilyn, for being such a, not only an awesome mother, but being a fantastic wife. On behalf of my mother, Marilyn, and my siblings and family, I would like to sincerely thank everyone, from the neighbors, Mom and Dad's friends and the family, and Dad's colleagues, associates from the clinic and the hospitals for your condolences, and I apologize in advance for anyone that we have missed. We would also like to thank and acknowledge Dad's caregivers, Melissa, Suzette, Sandy, and Gloria, for their exceptional care and friendship over this last few years. And we are also special thank you to Dad's care team at the Lakeridge Health Oshawa Hospital. You were also very professional and caring. And Dad commented on this many times. Thank you to my associates at the Curtis Funeral Chapel and the Oshawa Funeral Home for your assistance and care during our time of bereavement. You've been all so wonderful. I've also had the privilege and opportunity over the last many years to have a longtime friendship with Dr. Chris Suchdeva and his wife Jan. And I believe Chris and Jan is with us today via live stream. And I had called Chris, and Chris had shared a few words about his years working with Stan, and I'll just share just a few. As many of you know, Dr. Chris Suchdeva and Dr. Stanley Mankiewicz were at one time two of the main urologists at the Oshawa General Hospital. And Chris had mentioned that even though they were both, in a sense, competitors in their specialty, that Stan was like a brother to him. Over a long time of about 20 years, Chris and Stan collaborated, and without hesitation, they would cover each other's patients to make sure that their patients always had a doctor if needed. Thank you, Chris. At this time, I'm going to read on behalf of my dad's brother, Vic. Unfortunately, Vic and his wife, Margaret, and my cousin Carl and his family, they're down in Athens, Georgia. But due to distance and just some challenges, they are with us today via live stream, but they're just not able to be here in person. So I'm going to share some of Vic's memories. Dear friends and family, as Stan's baby brother, I am so sorry I can't be with you all today to celebrate the life of my brother, who was the kindest and most compassionate man in my life experience. He left me with many life lessons. As a kid, Stan kept asking Mom and Dad for a baby brother. At 10 years of age, his wish was granted when I arrived, his only brother. Stan shows his love and appreciation for me in so many ways. By years of thoughtfulness, guidance, and as an example, I learned many lessons from him. As a teenager, Stan worked at the local grocery store, making deliveries on an old secondhand bicycle. But the first thing he bought with his earnings was a new bicycle. Not for himself, but for me. That was a lesson in kindness. Then, when it was time to turn my bicycle into my first job, Stan arranged to get me a paper route and then showed me how to iron my first dollar. And then open a bank account. I still have that first dollar. Lesson learned. Thank you, Stan. For many years, Mom and Dad ran a rooming house in our huge 11-room house. Living with so many people was an exercise in developing communication skills. It was very interesting and educational over the years to live with all those people from many walks of life, to communicate with them, and to get along. One by one, Stan would enlighten me about the backgrounds of people and teach me how to get along with them. Those people ranged from university students to day workers, so many interesting side conversations. It was almost like an introduction to psychiatry. What a skill he had in analyzing people. Lesson learned. Thank you, Stan. Stan was Mensa brilliant, but his brilliance was never made me feel less intelligent than he was. He was always helpful. He loved reading and would drop pearls of wisdom on me from his readings. I learned to remember his pearls of wisdom and then lay them on other people I met. Hence, they thought I was brilliant, but I was really often quoting Stan. Then, Stan helped me get into medical school. Actually, on my application to medical school, I named him, then a practicing physician, I as my guardian. Hence, I got into medical school under the shadow of his great academic record. After my run at medical school, I decided it wasn't for me. So, what next? Of course, I flew to my big brother here in Oshawa and parked myself in his apartment while I looked for a job. One day, I had an opportunity with Eli Lilly, and Stan said I could wear one of his suits to look good at the interview.
It will make you want to shop for it.
Well, he left for work, and then I put on his nicest looking suit. The interview was a success. And when I came home after the interview, he was already home. He gasped, "What are you wearing? Do you know you wore my best suit?" I said, "But Stan, I got the job." At that moment, he gave me a smile, and he took me for my first steak dinner at his favorite restaurant in Toronto. Lesson learned again. Dress well, get the job. Eating dinner with Stan was an experience. Often, midway through the dinner, a call from the hospital would come about a patient in need of care. Without hesitation, he would head to the hospital to take care of someone, leaving half of his dinner on the plate. Lesson, caring for people. What a compassionate man. My big brother really gave his life to Oshawa. And his acts of kindness went on and on. We were here visiting him here in Oshawa while walking the dog. He had his first stroke, and it only slowed him down for a little while. Finally, at age 74 years of age, he retired. All those years of standing on concrete floors in the OR and the cysto rooms was catching up. He spoke every week or two. We spoke every week or two over my entire lifetime. We solved the world's problems and commiserated about the ever-changing world. Often, Ukrainian words slipped into our conversation, words that we remembered from our childhood at home. After one visit to see him in hospital, I remembered him saying, "If he did or said anything that hurt me or offended me, it was not intentional, and he was so sorry." No, Stan, you never did anything like that. What a man, a role model, and a gift to his family and friends. You were my best mentor, dear brother. Thanks, Stan. I sure am going to miss you, miss those phone calls every week or two. Stan, how I miss you already. Thank you for being my big brother.
Good job, David. Thank you, David. Now, when we lose someone, it hurts. It hurts because there's love involved. You just can't have one without the other. What you can do is you can close yourself off from one another, never make any true or real relationships with people, and that way you're never going to feel what you're feeling here today. However, that's no way to live. And Stan understood that. He let the people in his life, he let his community, he let his patients, he let anybody that crossed his path know just that they had his 100% full attention. They had his care. And that's a wonderful legacy to leave. And there's absolutely nothing that I can say today to make anyone feel better. You've lost someone very special and it hurts. You're sad. But there's a level of sadness that's not in this room. And that happens when somebody comes into the care of the funeral home staff and there is not one person out there to miss them. There's not one person to share a memory, not one person to share a story. And unfortunately, that does occur more often than I care to admit. And when that does happen, those people are treated with as much dignity and respect as our own loved ones are. And if somebody like myself is available, staff will give us a call and say, "Would you mind coming in and just saying a few words over this person?" And if we're not available, the staff do it themselves. And they may say something like, "I don't know your life story, but I'm sure at some point you made somebody laugh. I'm sure at some point you put someone's needs ahead of your own. I'm sure at some point you doled out pearls of wisdom that long lived in the hearts and minds of those. And though I don't know what those times are, I'm going to honor them." Well, that is not Dr. Stanley Mankiewicz's story. You know what he did in the times that he put your needs ahead of his own. You know the times he shared pearls of wisdoms. You know times he made you laugh. And again, that is a wonderful legacy to leave. Now, when it comes time to leave this earth, it can be a scary prospect. We are told through faith that there is another world waiting for us, a better world, but we fight it. We go to the doctors. We take our medications. We try and take care of ourselves. And why do we do this? Well, we do this because God has given us an ingrained sense of survival to meet the challenges that we are meant to meet, to learn what we are meant to learn, to experience what we are meant to experience. And not until the mind, body, and soul are ready to make that journey do we. And when we do, we are told that we are protected, we are healed, we are loved, we are forgiven, that our enemies are now our allies, and there is nothing but a great peace that waits for us. And that is best spelled out in Psalm 23, which goes, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Now, to many people, a funeral or a celebration of life is a place to say goodbye, but to me, it is really a place to say thank you. So thank you, Stanley, for raising a beautiful family. Thank you for not giving up on that young lady that was seeing somebody else to make that family happen. Thank you for teaching those around you that learning is something that you never stop doing. Thank you for just being you. Now we are here to honor Stanley and his earthly remains. And I say earthly remains because that's what we have here. This is no longer him. This stopped being Stan the moment that he took his last breath here on earth to begin his new life. And for a man that loved planes, I'm going to use a plane analogy to explain the journey that he's taken. I look at our bodies like vehicles of conveyance, in this case a plane. We fly through the earth, we take on different adventures, we see different things, but there will come a time where things stop working, where the engine stops running, the propeller is no longer as good as it once was, the wings just don't have the strength to hold us. Well, we land. And then what we do, we get out of that plane and move on to a new and a perfect one. And that is exactly what Stanley has done. He is still very much alive. He's just in another place, in another form, and he's in the arms of God. And you will see him again one day when the time is right. But until then, continue to share your memories and your stories. I encourage you to do that with the reception that is after this. Because when you do that, that is how you truly keep Stan alive right here in your heart. I invite you to join me in the saying of the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I would like to read a poem. It's called Believe. And this was one of Stan's favorite poems. He actually had this tucked away in his Bible. And for a man that was always encouraging others to be the best version of themselves that he could be, I think this is very apropos and fitting. Believe in yourself, in the power you have to control your own life day by day. Believe in the strength that you have deep inside, and your faith will help. It'll show you the way. Believe in tomorrow and what it brings. Let a hopeful heart carry you through. For things will work out if you trust and believe. There is no limit in what you can do. I want to thank you all so much on behalf of Stanley's family for being here, for being with them through his times of struggle, through the time that he passed, for reaching out. And I encourage that after today, as they go through their grieving process, it will take a very long time, that after Christmas comes, after New Year's, and as we get into the new year, continue to reach out and check on how they're doing. This pain doesn't go away that quickly and that easily, and after all the paperwork has been signed and the little sandwiches have been eaten, there's still a family that has an empty chair at a table. And please make sure you reach out and check on how they were doing. Again, I want to thank all of you for being here. If you do need the elevators to get downstairs, a member of the staff will be very happy to help. As we leave our service, we are going to listen to a very special song that's been chosen by his sons, All of My Love by Coldplay.
We've been through love, been through sunshine, been through snow. All the colors of the weather. We've been through high, every corner of the sky. And still we're holding on. Thank